Jacob and Michael Adams were twins like no other. Born in the bustling city of Chicago, they amazed everyone from the moment they arrived. Jacob had golden hair and striking blue eyes, while Michael had deep brown eyes and dark skin. Their parents, John and Emily, were just as stunned as the rest of the world. How could twins look so different? Some speculated about genetics, while others whispered about miracles. As they grew up, their unique appearance made them the talk of the town, but it never shook their bond. They were more than brothers. They were best friends. But little did they know, their unbreakable connection would soon be put to the ultimate test in the most unexpected way. In the heart of Chicago, twin brothers Jacob and Michael Adams were born, but they were anything but ordinary. Jacob had golden hair and piercing blue eyes, while Michael had deep brown eyes and dark skin. Their stark differences were shocking, even to their parents, John and Emily Adams, who could hardly believe their eyes when they held their newborns for the first time. News of the unusual twins spread quickly, and soon they became the center of attention. People couldn't stop talking about them. Neighbors, doctors, and even strangers speculated. Was this an extraordinary case of genetics, or something beyond science? Some believed it was a rare but explainable occurrence, while others whispered about fate, miracles, or even mistaken parentage. Yet despite the endless curiosity surrounding them, one thing was clear. Jacob and Michael were brothers, bound by something far deeper than appearances. But as they grew up, the mystery of their birth would be just the beginning of their remarkable story. Despite their striking differences, Jacob and Michael were inseparable. From the time they could walk, they did everything together, playing, exploring, and sharing their secrets. Their bond was unshaken by the endless curiosity of others. To them, they weren't different at all. They were simply brothers, best friends who understood each other better than anyone else. Their parents, John and Emily Adams, embraced their uniqueness and made sure they grew up with confidence and compassion. John, a dedicated school teacher, often shared their story with his students to teach the importance of diversity and acceptance. Emily, a kind-hearted nurse, taught them the value of caring for others, showing them that true strength lies in kindness. As they grew older, their passions became clear. Jacob was drawn to mysteries and the thrill of justice. He spent hours watching cop shows, dreaming of becoming a police officer. Michael, on the other hand, was fascinated by the human body, burying himself in medical books and envisioning a future as a doctor. Though their interests led them down different paths, their connection remained unbreakable. No matter what, they always had each other. But neither of them knew just how much that bond would soon be tested. As they grew into adulthood, Jacob and Michael pursued their passions with determination. Jacob fulfilled his dream of becoming a police officer, dedicating himself to protecting and serving his community. He had a strong sense of justice and never hesitated to stand up for what was right. Meanwhile, Michael's fascination with medicine led him to become a respected cardiologist, saving lives one heartbeat at a time. Though their careers were vastly different, their purpose remained the same, helping others in their own ways. Despite their demanding schedules, they never let life pull them apart. Every Saturday morning, without fail, they met at their favorite local diner for breakfast. It was their sacred tradition, a moment to reconnect, swap stories about their work, and laugh about old memories. They were opposites in many ways, one enforcing the law, the other healing the sick. But together, they were two sides of the same coin. Their bond was stronger than ever, unshaken by time or distance. But fate had a test in store for them, one that would prove just how unbreakable their connection truly was. One Saturday morning, their tradition was unexpectedly broken. Jacob was called in for a last-minute patrol shift, leaving Michael to eat alone. Wanting something quick, Michael stopped by a nearby McDonald's, ordering his usual meal and enjoying a quiet moment to himself. As he finished, he stepped outside into the bright afternoon sun, taking a deep breath and preparing to head home. But then, something felt terribly wrong. A sudden searing pain gripped his chest, stealing his breath away. His legs wobbled, his vision blurred, and within seconds, he collapsed onto the pavement. The world around him faded, the sounds of the busy parking lot becoming distant echoes. People saw him fall, but no one rushed to help. Some stood frozen in shock, unsure of what to do. Others glanced at him, hesitated, then walked away, unwilling to get involved. One man pulled out his phone but quickly retreated into his car without making a call. Minutes passed, and Michael's body lay still, hope slipping away. Then, as if by fate, a familiar black and white patrol car rolled into the lot. Jacob, ever vigilant, noticed the small crowd and pulled over to investigate. Stepping out of his car, his sharp eyes scanned the scene, locking onto the man lying on the ground. Something about the lifeless figure struck a chord deep within him. As he rushed closer, his breath caught in his throat. Michael. Jacob's heart pounded as he dropped to his knees beside his brother. "Michael!" he shouted, his voice filled with panic. But there was no response. Michael's face was pale, his chest barely moving. Jacob's instincts took over. He turned to the bystanders. "Call an ambulance," he demanded. But no one moved. Some looked away. Others simply stood in shock. Frustrated, Jacob grabbed his radio and relayed an emergency call himself. Wasting no time, he checked Michael's pulse. It was faint. Too faint. Without hesitation, he positioned his hands over his brother's chest and began CPR. Each compression was a desperate plea, each breath a silent prayer. "Come on, Mike. Stay with me," he murmured, his voice trembling. Sweat dripped from his forehead, but he refused to stop. His brother needed him, and he wouldn't let him go. The seconds stretched into eternity until, finally, the distant wail of sirens broke through the tension. Relief flooded Jacob as paramedics rushed onto the scene. "He's my brother," Jacob told them, his voice tight with emotion. "Please, save him." The paramedics worked quickly, stabilizing Michael and preparing him for transport. Jacob climbed into the ambulance without hesitation, gripping Michael's hand tightly. As the vehicle sped toward the hospital, memories of their childhood flashed in Jacob's mind. The laughter, the adventures, the unbreakable bond they shared. He couldn't lose him. Not now. Not ever. Holding on to hope, he whispered, "You're gonna be okay, Mike. Just hold on." At the hospital, Jacob paced the waiting room, his uniform still dusty from the parking lot. His hands trembled, his heart pounding harder with every passing second. The only thing he could do now was wait and pray. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a doctor emerged. "Officer Adams?" the doctor asked. Jacob turned sharply, desperation in his eyes. "Your brother is stable. It was a heart attack, but because of your quick action, you saved his life. A few more minutes, and it could have been a different story." Relief washed over Jacob, his legs nearly giving out beneath him. He whispered a quiet thank you before rushing into Michael's recovery room. His brother lay in bed, pale but alive, the steady beeping of the heart monitor filling the quiet space. Slowly, Michael's eyes fluttered open. He looked around, his gaze finally landing on Jacob. A faint smile tugged at his lips as he whispered, "You saved me." Jacob let out a shaky breath, shaking his head with a small chuckle. "That's what brothers are for," he said, gripping Michael's hand tightly. At that moment, they both knew nothing could ever break them. Not time, not distance, not even the hands of fate. Their bond, tested by tragedy, had only grown stronger, and from that day forward, they vowed never to take a single moment for granted. The story of Jacob and Michael spread throughout the city, touching the hearts of many. People were inspired by their unbreakable bond, a connection that defied even the most unexpected challenges. Their experience was a powerful reminder that life is fragile and that the people we love should never be taken for granted. From that day on, the twins made a promise to cherish every moment, to stand by each other no matter what, and to never let life's uncertainties weaken their bond. Their journey is proof that love, determination, and family can overcome even the darkest moments. And now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced an unbreakable bond like Jacob and Michael? Share your story in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.